everyone, I'm Jolene. I live full-time in my Subaru in my rooftop tent with my dog Sheila, and today I want to talk about stand-up paddleboarding on a budget. So paddleboarding is one of my favorite things to do with water. I don't have a boat, I don't water ski. Oh, she's rolling in the mud. I don't really do any of those things, and paddleboarding is just simple. You just need a couple things, and really almost anybody can do it. The problem is, she's covered in mud. The problem is a lot of paddleboards and equipment can be very expensive, and for me at least, very expensive. You know, over $1,000 for some of these, and that's just not realistic for everybody. And I am nothing if not cheap. So I have figured out a great way to paddleboard on a budget. It's still going to cost a few $100s because there's just not really any getting around that unless you are renting a board. But if you want a board of your own, if you want your own paddleboard setup, I have a great option for you that is not going to entirely break the bank like some of the fancier boards might. So let's check it out. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. I'm standing in super sticky thick mud. I'm like perched on a couple rocks in the mud. I just sank my crock in, so I'm trying to not sink any further. But this is my paddleboard. Ugly, isn't it? So this board I bought, she's having a good time. This board I bought probably about 6 years ago now. Maybe 7. I bought it from a terrible, terrible place that I do, in fact, hate. Walmart. I generally do not try to shop at Walmart if at all possible, but I wanted a board and I was shopping around online, and while I could get the same board on Amazon, we were traveling at the time. Water skiing. So I was traveling at the time. I didn't really have a place to ship it. And so if I ordered it through Walmart.com, I could pick it up in the store. So anyway, that's the story of how I got it from Walmart. But I believe when I bought it, it was about $350. So again, you are going to spend a few $100s, but to me it was worth it. I have definitely gotten my $300 use out of it, and this board has been great for the price that I paid for it. Alright, so here you can see my board in all of its glory. It's filthy. It's got D-rings up here in the front. It's got these 2 loops, D-rings in the middle, and then D-rings in the back as well. So those D-rings are really nice. You can use them to bungee things down. I have a dry bag I take with me and put whatever I need in it. I just usually strap it on there. This board also comes with a seat that you can attach to those rings, so you can kind of sit down like a flat kayak if you wanted to. I've only used the seat once or twice. It's not really my thing. I'd rather stand, and if I do want to sit, I just sit on the board. I don't need like the backrest or anything, but if you wanted to sit for an extended period of time while you're paddling, that little seat would be probably more comfortable on your back. So it came with the seat. The collapsible paddle. The paddle actually has 2 ends that have like the oar part on it, the fin, I guess, the blade. So if you are sitting down in that kind of kayak position, you can attach both blades to it, and then you have like a kayak type paddle, so you can get both sides evenly, which is pretty cool. Again, I don't really use it for that, but it is a nice option to have. Like I said, I've had this board for at least 6 years at this point, and it has held up amazing. The fins, she's having the time of her life. The fins do not come off. So some boards, some of the more expensive boards have removable fins, which is great for storage. You keep them from getting bent. These ones do not come off. They're like a really hard rubber. So they do have a little bit of give to them, especially toward the end. Sheila, what are you eating? And honestly, at this point, after being stored, you know, repeatedly, they do have a little bit of a bend to them. I don't find that that affects performance, for me at least, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm sure you noticed it is an inflatable board, which means that it folds down for storage. It has got kind of a foam layer on top for non-slip. It's got like a diamond pattern. It's a hideous kind of 90s-ish look to it almost. Yellow, orange, blue, and white, kind of geometric. Again, I bought it for budget. I didn't buy it for looks. You get what you pay for. You're not getting the prettiest board when you are buying it on a budget necessarily. Okay, so the board itself is great for me and what I use it for. I am by no means a hardcore paddleboarder, if there is such a thing. I'm not racing. I'm not using it for long distance, anything like that. I'm just using it to kind of putz around a lake here and there, take my dog out, that kind of thing. So for me, it works perfectly. I don't have really any issues with it. The only issue I did have initially was with the pump. So again, you do get what you pay for, and with a $300 paddleboard, you're not getting necessarily the highest quality of everything. So it did come with a pump. I forgot to mention earlier, it did come with a hand pump, which was absolute trash. In fact, it was so bad, and I am not going to pretend I understand technically how pumps work. All I know is that this pump was so shitty, I was not able to inflate my paddleboard by myself. I had to have somebody else help me who was stronger or heavier or something. Again, I don't know. I could pump it up maybe halfway. It needs to go to 12 psi. I could get to maybe 6, if that. And then it would literally be so hard that I could pull up the lever on the pump and lift myself off the ground, put all of my weight on that pump, and it would not push down. The little plunger part wouldn't go down, so I could not inflate it. I don't know. My sister has a better pump with a better board, and she is able to inflate this board and her board with it. I haven't tried, but that makes me think it's more of a pump problem and not that I am actually that weak. I am really weak, let's be serious. I have no upper body strength, but I feel like I should be able to inflate a paddleboard. So that being said, I did have to buy an electric pump, which I used for the first time today and am thrilled about. Also on the cheaper side, I will talk about that shortly, but it's made it so much easier for me. Another thing to keep in mind when you are buying on a budget is you're not going to get the same type of quality, obviously, but it's not even just about wear and tear. Like I said, this has held up phenomenally. For $300, for as much use as it's had, I have had multiple adults and dogs on there at once with no issue. The foam padding on top has got some dents and nicks and things like that from having dogs on there, but the paddleboard itself, the rubber part, nothing, no issues. It has been on rocks, on sand, in mud. It has had people and dogs and children and all sorts of crap on it, and I've never had any problems. So that aspect of quality has been great. The problem is it does not fold down exceptionally small. Some of the more expensive boards use, I guess, better inflatable board technology. Again, I don't pretend to know how these things technically work, but some more expensive inflatable boards are significantly lighter. They do fold up smaller, which is always great. You know, when you want something to be portable, you want it to be portable. This board's fairly heavy, and so me trying to carry it if I needed to like hike down into a lake would be miserable. I would not be happy about that. It does have like a backpack that it came in, which is also trash. The zipper on that stopped working fairly quickly. Again, the board doesn't fold up super small, so you have to get it exactly right to fit back in that bag it came from. So you do lose out on that aspect of it. Again, with like the pump, nicer boards come with nicer pumps, so they probably work a bit more efficiently. The same with the paddle. The paddle itself, I honestly don't know any better. It's really, I think, the only paddle I've ever used. I've used a few other people's boards, but I think I just always used my paddle. But I know that they make them sturdier, lighter, different shapes and sizes and all that jazz. So there are definitely better paddles out there, but for what you're paying, I have no problems with the paddle that came with this. Alright, last bit about the paddleboard. I did buy it from Walmart. Again, this was 6 or so years ago, so I'm not sure if they still have it. But I do know it is on Amazon. The brand name is Hydro Force. I will link to the exact board down below if you want to check it out. I would give the pump that it comes with a try, see if you can make it work. Maybe I just had a faulty pump and it was just kind of a one-off thing. So give the pump that it comes with a try. If it doesn't work out for you, I will also share the pump that I use, which has been great and is on the more affordable side compared to some other pumps. Most other pumps are a bit higher, so I will share that. But definitely, if you're new to paddleboarding, give it a try. I highly recommend this board, and then of course you can obviously upgrade if you get more into it or you want to do racing or like paddleboard camping or things and you need something maybe a little bit better quality. But highly recommend this for getting started. It has been excellent to me and I love it. So hopefully this helps. I know it can be kind of crappy when you want to get into doing something and just the cost barrier is too high. I know $300 is still a good amount of money, but it is more reasonable than, you know, $1,500 that some of these boards are. So hopefully you can give it a try and get out there.